Thanks very much. So we're ready to go racing then for the final touring car race of the day. This all Toyota front row, but we've had a day of surprises and, as ever, drama and incident and lots of talking points. Yeah, OK, you've got a world champion on pole position, but he's not an absolute guarantee for a win.
He definitely is. There's some very fast cars behind him. As we heard from Aidan Morgan, they'd hopefully made some changes to the BMW to make its race pace better. It was wearing out the rear tyres much quicker than it should have done. Cammish has been very quick, qualified out of position, but has a chance now. But all eyes will be on Rob Huff to see if he can get a win on his first weekend back in the Touring Car Championship.
And, of course, Aidan Moffatt is up at the pointy end and has been racing really well over the course of the day. Colin Turkington's on the third row of the grid. We talk about quick-starting BMWs. He could gain ground away from the start of the race as well. And now in the glorious late afternoon, early evening sunshine, we're ready to go racing at a rather different Donington Park from that greeted us at the start of the day. So the cars in a moment are going to be released onto the green flag lap. Last chance to get a bit of warmth into the tyres, and picking a winner out of this is certainly not an easy task. Yes, you've got to say that Rob Huff starts as a potential favourite, but would you put your money on him?
Well, I would, for all of his experience. I'm just not sure whether the full race pace in that car is going to be good enough to hold off some very quick cars behind. He's got plenty of hybrid. He's got the maximum hybrid of 8 laps, as has Aidan Moffatt next to him. I've just got a sneaky feeling that Cammish is going to do well in this race.
Well, we're about to find out then, because 1 formation lap and then 18 racing laps, all being well. It's been a drama-filled day, that is for sure. Sam Osborne, whose car was rather badly beaten up in the first race, should be back on the grid for this one. So he's going to be a man to watch as well. So they line up like this, with Rob Huff on pole position and Aidan Moffatt with him at the front of the grid. Adam Morgan will start third, and fourth is going to be Dan Cammish, ahead of Colin Turkington, and Josh Cook starting sixth. Seventh, Jake Hill, Ash Sutton, eighth with Tom Ingram, ninth with just that 1 lap of hybrid allocation. Then the rest of the grid all on 8 laps, that is. Dan Rowbottom starts 10th, ahead of Aaron Taylor-Smith and Andrew Watson. You've got Mikey Doble going from 13th ahead of Chris Smiley. 15th is where you find Darryl De Leon. Nick Halstead is next, then it's Ronan Pearson and the rookie on the grid, Scott Sumpton, with Tom Chilton and Sam Osborne to round out the 20-strong grid that is already making its way down through the Craner curves and then up towards the old hairpin. In terms of who has what for hybrid, 8 laps for both Rob Huff and Aidan Moffatt at the front, and then that sliding scale. 7 laps for Adam Morgan, 6 for Cammish, 5 for Turkington, 4 for Cook, 3, 2 and 1 for Hill, Sutton and Ingram. Everybody else on the maximum 8, and that's going to put the likes of Sutton and Ingram in a bit of jeopardy, because the people behind, like a Quick Rowbottom or the Astras of Taylor, Smith and Doble with the maximum hybrid, they could make progress.
Definitely. It was an interesting comment from Dan Cammish, wasn't it, that he saved his hybrid for the end of the race, but by that stage he'd sort of lost the best of the tyres and couldn't deploy it well enough to use it. So will people actually start using it a little bit earlier when the tyres are in better shape?
Because it's a different hybrid in as much as it's the extra power, and therefore they're learning about how to use that.
And they can't deploy it fully at the end of the race when the tyres are warm, coming out of a corner like Coppice, because it just creates too much understeer.
So the field wriggling its way out of Coppice down towards the chicane. Rob Huff, who's had an 18th and a 9th today, starts on pole. Aidan Moffatt's had a 9th and an 8th, and he will be second on the grid. Adam Morgan's results, 14th and a 7th. Dan Cammish, 8th and a 6th. Colin Turkington, a 4th and a 5th. Josh Cook, a 6th and a 4th. And then, just to show that they've been the class of the field all day, Jake Hill, 2 thirds. Ash Sutton, 2 seconds. Tom Ingram, 2 wins. They're the next 3 on the grid.
Yes, they're definitely the class of the field at the moment, aren't they? But it's all down to this last race, the Jeopardy race. Reverse grid. Hang on to your seats. Let's see what happens.
So Rob Huff, who is certainly no stranger to fierce touring car racing, will line up on pole position. He's won the World Championship, he's won the Scandinavian Championship, he's been a race winner, of course, in the British Championship in seasons past, and a multiple race winner around the daunting streets of Macau, where he absolutely excels. So he slots into place on pole position. 2 British Touring Car Championship career wins, going back a long, long time, like 20 years to when he came into the series as the Seat Cupra champion in his prize drive. And let's see whether he can add a third to that. The front of the grid is formed up, ready to go. Andrew Watson's Toyota in the background there comes into position. There is Sam Osborne, number 77, the Napa Ford. He will be the last driver into place. And once he slots into position, the indication can be given that we are all ready to go. That green flag is the sign for those on the start gantry to attend to the lights. Round 3 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship at a dry Donington. Lights out, blast off, great start by Morgan. Can he clear the Toyotas? He's got past 1, he's almost got past 2, and Turkington comes up to have a go as well. And Morgan, with an absolute peach of a start, leads into Redgate. Huff is second, and Turkington, he's kind of third on the outside line. Aidan Moffatt on the inside. Jake Hill comes up to have a go. Moffatt tries to defend either side. Turkington goes round the outside of him, and he's game on as they go downhill with Aidan Morgan in the lead.
Yes, and I absolutely gave the kiss of death to Dan Camish, who made a terrible start, locking up on the brakes. Turkington going into the old hairpin, rubbing with the Toyota of Cook.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was locking up or being tyre rubbed from Moffett getting into him, but either way, it's compromised the BMW, and Moffett goes back on the inside. Hill's having a look on the inside line as well. You're right, Camish has dropped back, and he's got his work cut out now, heading uphill for the first time. Morgan leads the way, but now, look, Huff is able to go after him. Moffett back up the inside of Turkington. Jake Hill is there as well, but Huff now at the end of the lap looking really racy, and Moffett is making that car incredibly wide.
Yeah, no hybrid available on the very first lap of the race, but it will be starting lap 2.
So Aidan Morgan leads, but he's under attack. Rob Huff may not have got as good a start, but he's been able to regroup over the course of the opening lap. This is going to be a real test for Aidan Morgan now to try and defend as Huff goes to the outside line. In third place, it's still Moffett ahead of Turkington, and then Hill, and then Cook as they dive into Redgate. To the outside line, though, there you've got Ash Sutton in 7th place, and he's looking to gain ground. And there's drama in the background. There's a Napa Ford sideways. There's Watson in and out the gravel, which was the Ford that was delayed. I've got a horrible feeling it might be well have been Dan Camish then.
Yeah, Huff was really trying to get a cut back on Morgan, but Morgan held the tight line on the way out. Sutton and Cook side by side on the run up. Going on, and look at the power that Ford has. He must be on the hybrid at that point. That helped him tremendously. His engineer, Tony Carosa, was saying to me in the pit lane that he has 2 staff members watching the TSL screen to see when cars are using the hybrid, so that he can relay that information back to Ash while he's watching the moving pictures.
The Ford in strife was Dan Rowbottom, who I think got roughed up and has dropped down the field. It wasn't Camish, he's still in that leading group. As down to the chicane they come. Morgan is hanging on in there, but look, Moffett now is on the back of Huff. That leading line is growing all the time. More and more cars adding themselves to it. At the end of lap 2, Aidan Morgan is going to lead across the line. Huff second, third, Aidan Moffatt. In 4th place, it's Turkington. 5th is Hill. Sutton is 6th. But maybe he's about to be 5th as he gets up the inside, contact, elbows out. Ash Sutton is coming through. Right, he goes 5th. Down to 6th is Hill. Ingram is 7th, and it's Cook, Camish, Taylor Smith 10th.
Well, there's a little bit of bodywork hanging off Sutton's car now. Hopefully that doesn't get any worse. That was a tough pass made into Redgate there.
Yeah, Sutton did the fastest lap of the race thus far when he came over the timing line, and all that momentum helping him get up the inside. Drama in the background. Darryl De Leon off the road at high speed. He's in the gravel, and he might well be staying there, and that could also be a safety car. So we're currently on lap 3, and we might get an interruption as Morgan still leads the way. Then it's Huff, then it's Moffett, then it is Turkington as they come through Coppice Corner. In 5th place is a charging Ash Sutton. Safety car is indeed deployed.
Yeah, as soon as the safety car is deployed, the drivers get a notification on their dashboard so they can slow down straight away. But yes, that'll close the field up, and it hopefully we'll get the car out, De Leon's car out the gravel track quickly, because we're really enjoying this race.
Great race thus far. And so now Aidan Morgan, who's done a really good job of hanging on to that race lead with everything being thrown at him. That long line of cars behind, of course, has been growing. So Huff, Moffett, Turkington, Sutton, Hill, Ingram, Cook, Camish, Taylor Smith, the top 10. 11th, Andrew Watson. Mikey Doble is 12th. In 13th place, Tom Chilton. 14th, Chris Smiley. 15th, Sam Osborne. Dan Rowbottom, 16th. Then it's Nick Halstead, Scott Sampton, and we have lost Darryl De Leon in the gravel, and Ronan Pearson into the pit lane as well.
Yeah, that's a shame for Ronan Pearson. Obviously, he was off he's been off on the grass. Let's just have a look.
It's all self-induced, isn't it?
Yeah, just lost it. Yeah. Just lost it. Yeah, Ronan Pearson's problem in race 1 when he went off was the power steering failing.
Right.
And maybe he's had similar problems again.
Well, that's Darryl De Leon who is in the gravel. Now, this is the hard move, as you called it, by Ash Sutton. So he's used the hybrid, he's come across the line, he's done the fastest lap of the race, and
Well, he feinted to go to the outside to drag Hill away from that inside line and then dived for the inside, and Hill then tried to close the door a little bit, which why there was some rubbing.
Here it is from the outside.
Watch. Sutton moves to the outside. Hill then starts to come across. Then as soon as Sutton comes back in, Hill tries a bit late to defend it, and there's a little bit of a rub.
There'll be two sides of that argument, no doubt, but Ash Sutton is ahead. Jake Hill then falls back one spot. That was for 5th. Replay of the start, on board with Huffy.
On board with Huff. Not used to making starts in these cars, remember, but nothing he could do about Morgan. Morgan is through and got the door closed before we even get to the braking area. There's a little bit of a tap in the corner, has to use some opposite lock. Gets a good run out of the corner though. The cars that I think are really fast are the Moffett and behind cars. They seem to be really fast, unless Huffy was just sitting behind Morgan hoping that they'd build a bit of a gap. But the way after a couple of laps that Aidan Moffatt and the others closed that little gap down was very quick indeed.
Replay of the start, you see Huff bogs down a little, but then again, we know the BMWs make great starts anyway. Morgan jumps around the outside. Now look at Turkington for 3rd. He's on the outside of Aidan Moffatt. Tried to go all the way around the outside, and then those two rubbed as they got to the bottom of the Craner curve. So by this stage, Adam Morgan is ahead as they dive down the hill, and almost clear of the gravel bed is Daryl de Leon's Cupra. Bits of bodywork lying in the road and lying up the road. Yeah. And whether that will...
I think that's the marker post, isn't it, that is put on the inside of the old hairpin. That certainly is a waste of everyone's effort, because touring cars are always going to take that out on lap 1.
Exactly right. Ronan Pearson back into the pit lane. Daryl de Leon, who was one of the stars of qualifying, he's had a toughish day, really. 13th and 15th, and then a retirement to round it out. But he's shown good pace, and that's Ronan Pearson's disappointment, and I think that car is probably done now. Yeah,
well, there's no point really in going out unless it's for any testing or evaluation duties, but clearly some issues there. I suspect the power steering failed again, and that's why he went off the circuit, because there was grass all in the inlet, but that's my guess.
Right, we are with the safety car, I suspect, with its lights out, because the way they've all bunched up and are weaving around suggests we might be heading for a restart here. The safety car has disappeared, so safety car into the pit lane. Adam Morgan now controls the restart. He's got Rob Huff right up behind him, but the BMW accelerates away. The green flag is ready. We're back racing then. 20 laps of action it will now be because of that safety car intervention. Morgan leads Huff over the line. Moffat still 3rd. 4th is Colin Turkington, and right on his tail, 5th, Ash Sutton, and Huff closing right up onto the back of Morgan under braking.
Yeah, very good on the brakes, that Toyota. But we know brakes are slightly marginal on the Toyota. Some issues for Cook and Moffat certainly in race 2. So Huff needs to look after those brakes to have something left at the end.
And what about Turkington now on Aidan Moffatt, who's having a go before the yellows? Let's see what he can do now. We're back under green flag conditions as Chris Smiley comes under attack from Sam Osborne and Dan Rowbottom. The climb up towards McLean's corner. A big lock up by Morgan. He's going to go deep into the corner, but does he make the corner? He runs wide, he's off, and he's given the lead to Huff. Through into 2nd place, now tries to go Aidan Moffatt, and for 3rd, Colin Turkington is going to get ahead, and that was Adam Morgan making a mistake.
The Achilles heel of that BMW is not having enough tyre temperature in the fronts at the start of the race, and it's caught out, well, all three of the drivers so far, because we had it catch out Jake Hill in qualifying. It's caught out Turkington earlier in the race. Here we see the car's slightly unweighted, but he does get the car straight before he hits the brakes. It's just not enough tyre temperature and not enough weight transfer to the front, and no engine braking on the front. The front-wheel drive cars obviously have engine braking on the front as well.
And a delighted Rob Huff just lets the road open up ahead of him. Through he goes into the lead. But that said, Aidan Moffatt would quite like a race win. Now, the cars are run by the same team, but they're under different sponsor tags, different team names. Aidan Moffatt wants to win this race as much as Rob Huff does. There is a charging Ash Sutton in the meantime. He's on the back of Turkington, and Huff has got still 8 laps of hybrid to use, whereas Moffat has used 2 of his laps. Adam Morgan, who was the man over the line in 3rd place, has only got 4 laps of hybrid use, so Huff is still in the box seats. He's not using it.
He's using it this lap. I've just seen it flash, so I think he is using it to try and build a bit of a gap, isn't he? Try and let him get away if he can. Yeah, on the hybrid now, Huff.
Indeed so. Started using it, as you say, to try to break clear. So Adam Morgan, after that mistake, trying to regroup. And down towards the chicane they come once again. Huff now looking to get clear on his return to the championship. Further back, Josh Cook coming under attack from Dan Camish as they turn their way through 8th and 9th over the line. So Huff to Moffat, 7/10 of a second, and Rob Huff has just done the fastest lap of the race. This is looking good for Toyota now.
Yeah, that definitely worked. He used the hybrid, set the fastest lap, got a 3/4 of a second gap towards Moffat, so that was good use of the hybrid. He's got more laps available to him than Moffat anyway. He's got 7, Moffat's got 6, so Moffat's already used 2 of his laps.
That's right, and then behind, Adam Morgan hanging on to 3rd place. Andrew Watson in the meantime coming under attack from Aaron Taylor-Smith, who loses out to Tom Chilton. Tom Chilton dives through number 3 Hyundai, through on the inside line then, he gains ground. So you've got a charging Chilton in this mix. There's Dan Rowbottom at the back of the queue as well, looking to gain some ground if he can. And now Rob Huff trying to build that lead, but Aidan Moffatt likewise trying to use the hybrid to catch back up again.
Well, I think after all the issues that he's had so far this weekend, you've got a very fired up Tom Chilton, and that was a great move down the inside there. He's got a fast car under him, it just needs to be reliable for him.
Race leaders come out of the chicane. 8 laps of 20 in the book then as they come over the line. You're on board with Tom Ingram, but Rob Huff is leading now by 0.698 of a second. And last time through, Moffat fractionally quicker, interestingly enough. Morgan is hanging on to 3rd, ahead of Turkington, then Sutton, then Hill, and then Ingram. You're on board with him, 7th, and behind are Cook, Camish and Watson to round out the top 10. And that is Sam Osborne, whose car is disassembling itself. Osborne is 15th, but that could be a black and orange mechanical warning flag given the damage on the side.
Yeah, definitely. Sam Osborne's been making a healthy chunk into the Alliance Racing spare parts inventory this weekend, hasn't he?
Right, it's safer now because the bodywork has gone, so there's no longer anything hanging on. It's fallen off. Lead gaps come right down. Aidan Moffatt fancies a win here, doesn't he? And if they get together, Adam Morgan ain't that far behind.
No, I told you Moffat had some pace. He's got some serious pace this weekend, that boy. And he will go for a win, no question. They've pulled both of them away from Morgan and Turkington.
So Aidan Moffatt on the tail of Rob Huff. Into the chicane they come. Up towards the timing line. This will put the end of 9 laps in the book, and as they break the beam, the margin is down from 6/10 to just over 3/10 of a second. Adam Morgan in 3rd place, lapping not quite as quick as Moffat, but certainly quicker than Huff, and he's taking Turkington with him. Then it's Sutton, then it's Hill, then you've got Ingram in the mix as well. Jake Hill trying to defend from the Hyundai, squeezing Ingram towards the grass as the leaders drop down the hill. Rob Huff may be having to turn up the wick a little bit on this lap because he's just moved slightly away again, hasn't he? And that's a really bold effort by Sutton. Through he goes, gets up to 4th at the expense of Turkington. I never saw a gap.
Well, he just pulled that move off perfectly. Morgan has been a little bit of the cork in the bottle for this group, but that just was a perfect timed move up the inside, not running wide. Oh, we've got a move for 1st, and through goes Moffat on Huff for 1st place up at Coppice.
Aidan Moffatt leads. Rob Huff will try to fight back. And what about Ash Sutton? Because even though he doesn't have very much hybrid at his disposal, he's driving very rapidly indeed. That was how how Moffat was able to catch right up going through McLean's and into Coppice through on the inside. He's got good pace, Moffat.
He has got good pace, but he's on the hybrid this lap.
Yeah.
That's the difference it can make. He's used more than Huff. He's used 5 laps. He's got 5 laps left, and Huff has got 2 laps more, and that was a clear pass using hybrid.
Huff back on the attack. Turkington has gone back ahead of Sutton as well for 4th place, so Sutton's progress has not continued. He's fallen back into 5th as Huff tries to get up the inside. Mega send up the inside into the old hairpin. Job done. Brilliant move. Huff leads again.
Well, Huff's using it this lap. We saw the light in the rear window flashing. You see it again there. He's got hybrid this lap, and Moffat hasn't. Oh, little snatch on the brakes there as the car was unweighted.
Is this one of the best drives we've ever seen out of Aidan Moffatt? Because going toe-to-toe with Rob Huff like this is a mega drive. It's a great battle for the race lead. There'll be 1 or 2 palpitations on the pit wall for the Speedworks team that operates these cars as Moffat gets up the inside. He is driving very, very well indeed. He's back into the race lead. But look, Morgan and Turkington and Hill, they're right with them again. So all of a sudden we've got 6 for the race lead. Sutton versus Hill, part of it. But at the front, it is Aidan Moffatt just ahead of Huff. Toe-to-toe over the line, Moffat on the inside. Huff slots in behind him, but Morgan, Turkington, Sutton, Hill, Ingram, they're all looking menacing.
Well, these 2 fighting it out has let the BMWs catch up and up the inside. was Morgan. Has he got the better of Huff? That was a good lap by Aidan Moffatt. No, he hasn't, but that was a good lap by Moffett because he managed to keep the lead even though Huff was on the hybrid and he wasn't.
Right, so Huff wants the lead back. The BMWs want to get past. We've got Ash Sutton trying to recover. Huff goes wide. Does that give Adam Morgan a chance? He's on the outside line for Schwant's curve. He's able to hang on all the way around the outside of the Toyota. This is where Adam made his mistake earlier on. He's on the inside line now. This is going to be really bold if he gets up the inside. He does. Huff gets forced out wide. Here comes Turkington. Huff elbows his way back onto the circuit. Turkington's on the inside line. He's second. Sutton's arrived at the party as well. He's fourth. And Rob Huff might get elbowed out to the outside. Rob meet Ash. Ash meet Rob. This is going to be a good battle as they come down to the chicane. Moffat, he's scot-free. He's away and gone.
This is all about who's using hybrid and who isn't, and it's making for great racing. Difficult to tell who's using it when, but there's some great side-by-side racing. Moffat is going to start this lap with a 2.5 lead.
He is indeed, but Turkington comes over the line now in second place and on a charge. Huff's been shuffled back in the pack a little bit. I'm still intrigued to see what Ash Sutton can do because that Ford is looking quick as well. Now we need to start looking at this gap between Moffat and Turkington. As you say, it is a 2.5 between the top two. We have got just under 8 laps of the race remaining. Huff's down to 4th, Morgan 5th, Ingram 6th, Hill 7th, Cook 8th, Camish 9th, Watson is 10th, and in the first sector, fractionally quicker than Moffat, fractionally quicker, is Turkington.
But Turkington's used all of his hybrid to get there. He's got none left. Moffat's still got 3 laps left.
And Sutton, who has got 1 lap remaining, and he started with 2, is there on merit in 3rd place. So he is still looking menacing, as now Huff starts to get attacked by both Tom Ingram and by Jake Hill. Adam Morgan's fallen back a little bit further, hasn't he? Look back then, down towards the chicane. Jake Hill to the inside line, finds a gap, there's contact, and Ingram has to get across the gravel. Huff goes with him because there was nowhere they could make the corner, and as Huff comes back onto the circuit, Morgan's going to have a go on one side. Huff's going backwards here, no doubt about it, and the lead gap has virtually halved, a 2.5 to 0.8 in a lap.
Oh, game on, but Moffat's saving 3 laps of hybrid, which he could use.
And he's going to need them.
To go.
He's going to need them the way Turkington's going. And then behind them, you've got Ash Sutton. Now, this is what happened at the chicane. Jake Hill into Tom Ingram. There's no way Tom could make the corner. Well, Huff's reasoning for going through the gravel, less obvious, but I think he just arrived too quickly and he was slightly phased by what was going on ahead. He couldn't turn in either, could he? Hill was there.
No, he had nowhere to go. So Hill just held it on the reclaiming the circuit on the way out.
Right, Sutton is also lapping quicker than Moffat. So look, the top 3 are concertinaing. Yes, Moffat's got more hybrid to use, but the gap has virtually disappeared already to Turkington. That's Andrew Watson coming now up through Coppice. Robotham having a go at him, and we'll move up on the inside. Yep, takes the place away, so that puts down Robotham back into the top 10, and he ain't done yet as the leaders come down towards the chicane. The 2 Napa Fords look side by side. Robotham goes ahead of Camish. Been a tough day for both of the Dans, but Robo is ahead of Dan Cam for the race lead. Moffat to Turkington, 2/10. Turkington's just done the fastest lap of the race. 6 laps to go.
Well, Colin often does this, comes on fire as he develops his car during the day, and he's certainly got it working well now because he's done that without any hybrid.
And then you've got Ash Sutton behind, who is also, again, on that last lap, lapping quicker than Moffat. So that's why I say this top 3, concertinaing out of the old hairpin. In 4th place, it's Ingram. It's 5th for Hill. And now, look, Turkington is going for the race lead. Moffat's going to have to make that Toyota very wide indeed. Huff has fallen back into 7th, so it's up to Moffat now to uphold things for Toyota at effectively a home circuit. Toyota's UK arm based in Derby. But look, as Turkington is on the tail, Sutton is getting closer and closer as well.
And that could be a help for Aidan Moffatt, because if Turkington has to start looking in his rearview mirror and defend, it'll give him a little bit of breathing space. So it's been a great race up front. There's been some incredible overtakes down the field as the hybrid is really coming into play, and this is with everybody still on the same tyre. When we go to Brands, they'll be on different tyres, and it'll really mix it up, which is just what Alan Gow wanted to see.
Race leaders go through them, and the gap between the top 2, 0.461 of a second. Moffat to Turkington, and Sutton is in 3rd place, and again he was lapping quicker than those ahead of him last time. So Sutton is still a man on the mission, but he's running out of options, running out of laps, and so for that matter it's Colin Turkington. He's 4/10 of a second back, so he lost a fraction of time on that last lap. But Turkington needs to be bold and make that move as quick as he can, as soon as he can.
Yeah, that's because Moffett decided to use one of his 3 laps of hybrid on the last lap. So he's only got 2 left now.
Under braking from McLaren's, Toyota, BMW and Ford. Top 3, Aidan Moffatt, Colin Turkington, and then Ash Sutton. I still reckon this is the best we've seen in a touring car from Aidan Moffatt. It's been a really good drive. It's not done yet. He's going to have to work hard to hang on to the race lead as Turkington closes. Look, coming out of Coppice. Ash Sutton almost content, it seems, to let Turkington do the hard yards, see what he can do about getting past the Toyota. And Aidan Moffatt is certainly under attack coming down to the chicane. Sutton closes a little. Turn right, turn left, onto the pit straight they come. Toyota still leads the way. BMW is close. The margin last time, 0.461 of a second. It's now 0.3 of a second as they come down to Redgate with only 4 laps to go. And Tom Ingram, 4th, fastest lap of the race.
Wow, that's impressive from the Hyundai to set the fastest lap of the race at this stage of the race. Shows how well that car is managing its tyres and how much speed it's got. That'll be a little bit scary for everyone else when they see he's done that, because he did it, whether he did it with hybrid or not, no he didn't, because he's still got 1 lap left. Yeah. He only starts with 1.
Exactly.
So that's a really impressive lap from Tom Ingram.
Now look at Turkington, he's getting closer and closer to Moffat. Is Colin Turkington, though, in this race, going to do a proper big send, like a Sutton, Hill, Ingram type move? Or is he going to be a little bit more accommodating of Aidan Moffatt? Let's see. The commitment is certainly there now, look, because he's on the back of the Toyota and he looks for the inside line. Yep, Colin wants this win, clearly. He goes to the outside line as they come down towards the chicane. He also knows that Ash Sutton is closing all the while, but Turkington can't make a move into the chicane this time, and that's another lap gone. Redgate's the next opportunity. Turkington's out of hybrid, and Aidan Moffatt has got 2 more laps use of it. Ash Sutton has got 1 more lap. The top 3 are covered by 0.486 of a second as they go down towards Redgate. If Turkington isn't going to make a move, Sutton needs to get past the BMW, and I reckon he would have a full go at Moffat.
Well, Sutton has got 1 lap of hybrid left, and Turkington has none. Aidan Moffatt's engineer, Steve Brady, will have told Aidan Moffatt that Turkington hasn't got any, so he can pick where he defends. And when you look, he's on hybrid now. Watch how he pulls away up this section. The uphill section out to the old hairpin. Look how effective that hybrid is at pulling away.
Exactly right, but look at the way that Sutton now is all over Turkington. But if Colin defends, as you said earlier on, that's going to gift wrap this win for Aidan Moffatt. Tom Ingram in 4th, he's closing as well. And we're going to have 2 laps to go at the end of this. Is Aidan Moffatt going to be able to hang on in there? It's going to be a close run thing. On board with Sutton, you're 3rd at the moment. Colin Turkington ahead, down towards the chicane. Moffatt possibly with a bit more hybrid use has got away yet further. You can see the leading quartet all bunching up. But Colin Turkington, close at certain parts of the circuit, is now, with 2 laps to go, possibly going to have to fight for 2nd rather than fight for the lead. Right,
well, let me paint the picture for you. With 2 laps to go, Moffat has 1 lap of hybrid, Turkington has none, Sutton has 1, and Ingram has 1.
And those 4 are covered by 1.3 seconds. Onto the top of the Craner curves now. Turkington is not looking close enough anymore to have a go at Moffat. Aidan is stretching that margin, and it looks as though he is going to be able to build enough of a gap on this lap to preserve that onto the last lap of the race. Turkington, in the meantime, takes Ash Sutton with him. He's quick out of the old hairpin. This is the run up to McLaren's, and Sutton knows that he's running out of time, running out of corners, running out of options into McLaren's. Is there a gap on the inside that he might possibly take advantage of? So close. Turkington pulls out, but he doesn't make a commitment to the inside line. Sutton would love to find half a gap, but there's nothing doing.
So we're going to come down to this last lap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sutton's using the hybrid on this lap. If he doesn't get through on this lap, he's going to find it very difficult. Oh, a little bit of rubbing in there. Ingram's under pressure as well from Hill as we start the final lap.
And Aidan Moffatt's done a great job, hasn't he, to withstand all of this pressure. He's still in the lead of the race. He's not put a wheel out of line. He leads as they come down now towards Redgate Corner. Turkington is close, but is he close enough to be able to attack? Well, he does kind of feint to the inside, but that wasn't a serious move. He runs out wide. Sutton can't find a way past him, and while they're all squabbling and all queued up behind, Moffat just has to tick off the corners here.
And he's got hybrid on this lap. This has been an absolutely first-class drive by Aidan Moffatt. I doff my hat to you, young sir. Brilliant race. Withstood pressure, retaken the lead when you had to. It's been absolutely fantastic.
And here is Ingram having a go at Sutton for 3rd place. Ash wasn't expecting that. That takes the pressure off Turkington, because with damage, all of a sudden, Ash Sutton was sideways and having to defend. Third, fourth and fifth are together. Sutton, then Ingram, then Hill, within sixth behind them. Rob Huff is faded away from that leading gaggle, but what that has just done is release Turkington now to think about maybe having one last go at Moffett. Down towards the chicane. They're close, but they're not close enough. Aidan Moffatt's going to hang on in there. Into the chicane then. Heading towards the right and the left, and then up towards the line. It is going to be a fifth British Touring Car Championship win for Aidan Moffatt, who comes across the line. Moffett wins at Donington, Turkington second, third Sutton, fourth is Ingram, fifth is Jake Hill, and it is a first victory for the LKQ Euro Car Parts with Cinetic team. For Speedworks Motorsport, it is a win, and for Toyota, a win on home soil here near Derby. And Aidan Moffatt's undoubtedly best ever drive in a touring car.
No doubt about it. Absolutely brilliant. A really good drive. That was great to see. Perfect use of the hybrid when he needed it, but good pace as well, because don't forget Rob Huff was right there at the front leading at one stage and fell back to finish sixth. So clearly Aidan had a better setup on his car and made the use of it. But that was a great race to see.
And as we've been saying over the course of the day, Aidan's had good pace all weekend. You know, he looked quick in qualifying, he's looked quick in the earlier races. A ninth and an eighth may not sound like they were great results, but you know, when he was able to race and make progress. The first race had so few racing laps, it was a hard one to judge anyway. But he's looked good all weekend, and that without a single error. Outstanding.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That was a great race, very entertaining. Difficult for us to really keep across with the use of the hybrid making such a difference now. You know, we're constantly flicking between the screen and the pictures, the timing screen that is, to see who's using it. But it certainly created an entertaining race.
And Aidan Moffatt then takes honours by half a second from Colin Turkington. Ash Sutton picking up damage at the end, finishing in third. So let's look at the result then of round three, a drama-filled day at Donington. Race three of the championship won by Aidan Moffatt, with Colin Turkington second and Ash Sutton in third. Tom Ingram fourth ahead of Jake Hill, Rob Huff sixth, then Adam Morgan seventh, Dan Rowbottom up to eighth ahead of Josh Cook, and Dan Camish rounding out the top 10. 11th, Tom Chilton. That was another good effort from a long way back on the grid. He started 19th. Andrew Watson next from Mikey Doble, besting his teammate Aaron Taylor-Smith. Sam Osborne 15th ahead of Scott Sumpton and Nick Halstead. We lost Chris Smiley, Ronan Pearson and Daryl DeLeon. So what does all that do to the championship then? Because Tom Ingram's had a very good, consistent day. Tom Ingram leaves Donington 9 points ahead in the title race. Ash Sutton second and Jake Hill third. Fourth, Colin Turkington ahead of Aidan Moffatt. Josh Cook is sixth, then it's Dan Camish and Adam Morgan. Rob Huff is ninth and Aaron Taylor-Smith rounds out the top 10. So through the technical checks, we'll go the number 16 Toyota of Aidan Moffatt. And once the Tokyo technical team is happy, the car can be released down towards Park Fairmate. That's, as we keep saying, a really impressive drive by Aidan Moffatt and a really good day that he has had. Good pace. It'll be a really happy team, that's for sure, as he arrives in Park Fairmate. The car waved towards that first place board. And when Aidan Moffatt hops out of the car, he'll be a delighted man for sure. Door open, as he gets. Great big cheer goes up. Aidan Moffatt wins race 3 at Donington. And he does it in style, under huge pressure. Had a great early battle with Rob Huff. And he comes out on top. Alan Fox, the team manager, embraces him. And in the background there, with the dark glasses, John Gilbert, the managing director of Speedworks Motorsport, the team that operates the cars, and that's a great result for John's commitment to the team. Aidan Moffatt wins at Donington, and we'll hear from him